Hello everyone, another review. So just when you thought there was none to come along at once. So here's a book I've been reading. It's by Chase Hill and it's called Stop People Pleasing. How to start saying no, set healthy boundaries. How to start saying no, set healthy boundaries and express yourself. Right, a lot of things there. Stop people pleasing. So basically, I suppose this is something that people do really all the time. We've probably done it since we were growing up. You have to people please to some extent because you have to survive. You're small and your parents are big and they have all the control. So you learn as a natural consequence of life to people please. And sometimes it's not what you want to do, and then you want to get along with other people. You want people to like you. At school, and so you start wearing what everybody else is wearing, or even though it's not really what you want to wear. You say things that people, you want to say to people. That it didn't really go into that as much in terms of why that's a survival mechanism, which I think it is really. I think we kind of have to do that up to a certain point until we feel comfortable enough to assert ourselves. So a lot of this book is about asserting yourself, how to assert yourself, and finding ways to do it in a non-confrontational, non-aggressive way. But sometimes, sometimes people need a bit of aggression. They need to be confronted. They need to be, was it, I heard Mike Tyson said the internet's made people too comfortable in talking shit or something like that, yeah. Whereas people would get a smack in the mouth if they'd done that before without the internet. Anyway, something like that. So, no, but it's trying to teach you sensible ways to confront people, ways to say no. So a lot of it is about how to say no, but in a non-confrontational way. Stuff like, I'll get back to you. I'll have a think about that, and, let's have a look at that, or something like that. So yeah, it's quite good. They've got there's a good section at the end, which is about, what was it? Troubleshooting. What if nothing seems to be working? So it's things like having unclear goals, things like that. I think a lot of times if your own goals are not clear, then people will kind of walk all over you. So there is that. And it's also about making you see that, sometimes when you say no to people, the reaction isn't going to be great, and that's okay, and that you can continue to say no, and how to prepare for that, and how to get better at doing that. So just reading that, a lot of it is also about boundary setting. Yeah, setting healthy boundaries. So that was a big part of the book. How to set healthy boundaries, what are healthy boundaries, and what's the other thing on the end? They have a 2 week, he has a 2 week program. So on one day you say no, second day you say, I'll try different phrases. Some of it is about communication. It's about, do they mention communication? Yeah, expressing yourself. So it's about communication and the ways to say no without going no. But sometimes you have to say no and just be blunt about it. But I think the idea is to be a bit more civilized about it and find different ways of saying no. They do talk about people who manipulate. There are manipulators out there who will not take no for an answer. And then they talked about intrusive people who are just nosy and they're just intrusive and they think that they know best for you. And again, and I might be guilty of that myself, sometimes I want to sort people out because I think that's best for them, and partly that's my job as well. But that can sometimes be welcome and sometimes it can be unwelcome. So I think that's, sometimes again you have to find a way to say it without being completely blunt. So that's, there's not really much to this. Stop people pleasing. I thought it was a useful book, and if you are genuinely going through something where you are really upset and you think you're doing something just because you're keeping the other people happy and you don't know how to deal with it, I think this is a good wee book to read. It gives you pointers and you know, the thing about these things with all of these books, these self-help type books, is there's never one perfect answer, never one perfect fits all answer. You just sometimes have to try something, and if you try something, even if it doesn't work out the way you expected, the next time you'll get better at it, or it'll break that ice, and it'll break, not the ice, but it'll break that deadlock. So I think these books are always good, and if you think that you might have a bit of that going on, and look, I would say that to some extent we all have to have a certain amount of people pleasing, because that's how, you know, sometimes we have to do things that we don't like. You know, life isn't all about instant gratification. The more I think about it, you know, sometimes you have to delay what we really want, what really gratifies us. But as long as we're aware that we're doing that and we're doing it for a reason, that's okay. But I think it's when we think we have no choice, that's when it's terrible. There was something I did say about this book, and I'd written it down. Let's see, what was it I'd said? All something, oh God, I can't read my own writing. All of us should, I think it was something like, relationships should be built on trust, respect and boundaries. Nobody should feel that they have to compromise who they are for a friendship. On the contrary, they should be encouraged to express their own originality. Essentially, communication is fundamental at every stage of the relationship. Blah, 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 blah. As I mentioned, that the troubleshooting chapter was good. People pleasing is a sign of, and that's interesting. People pleasing, what he's saying is that it's a sign of poor emotional intelligence, the inability to understand, use, and manage your own emotions. I think that's true, yeah. And it is, because I guess sometimes there's something we really need, and we may think we have no choice. We run from confrontation instead of standing up for ourselves and what we feel is right. Expanding your emotional vocabulary can help improve your emotional intelligence, allowing you to better understand your feelings. Some of that is true, but I think some of that is the stop people pleasing can occur because of, I think, certain power imbalances. The more I think about it, I can see where others have been in a situation where they've had to people please because they thought they had no choice. So I can see how there was an imbalance of power. And I've been in that situation when I've been in a training situation and I thought I have to do something to please the other person. And actually, I think there's an imbalance of power. And actually, I think sometimes books like these are good to help you just to stand back and realize that actually, no, that's bullshit. What is the actual thing here? Do I really need to be in here? Can I not do without these people or this thing? Sometimes you can, but I think other times you can. And even if you, I think, read something like this, like I said, I think it's a great book to break the deadlock or impasse and help you find a better way. So that's Stop People Pleasing by Chase Hill. How to start saying no, set healthy boundaries, and express yourself. I think if you've got a situation where you're genuinely upset about something, I think it's not a bad one to read. Okay, thanks. Bye.